the largest convention in American atheist history in a Christian city called Des Moines, today on Atheist Viewpoint. Hello and welcome to Atheist Viewpoint. I'm David Silverman.
And I'm Ron Barrier.
And we're back from the Atheist Convention, the 37th Annual Atheist Convention in Des Moines, Iowa, a Christian city. And today's episode is going to be all about the convention. I'll give you the punchline first. It was our largest convention in our history. Des Moines was supposedly a Christian city.
A Christian city?
Yes, a Christian city.
So there's no crime, there's no corruption?
No, there's plenty of that.
Oh.
That's what makes it a Christian city.
Ah.
Yes, the atheists are there. However, I will tell you the atheists, there are lots and lots of atheists in Des Moines. We had just about 800 people at this convention, which was more than double what we had last year.
That's incredible.
In Newark. Yeah, 800 people. And we had a phenomenal time. In those 800 people, 250 of them were students.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not like, I mean, I remember the old days, you know, when we had our conventions years and years ago, when you could look out onto a sea of gray hair.
Ah, yeah, it was the whole geriatric thing.
Yes, and we had a really good time. The young people came in, the Secular Student Alliance was there, the Richard Dawkins Foundation was there, and they really brought in a sense of energy into this convention. And I'm really, really very proud of how it worked out. So I just wanted to spend one show talking about it. It's going to be a short show. Then we're going to have some clips from the convention so that people can see it. In the next few shows, we'll have some clips from the convention intermingled in for the next few shows, because this was a pretty epic event.
You know, the fact that so many young people showed up, that really is heartening, because I think young people now are starting to realize that once they rid themselves of the supernatural shackles that most of them are probably brought up in to begin with. And what I found out is that atheism is self-empowering. You know, you're not dependent on anything. It's you. You make the decisions. You account for whatever consequences there are, good or bad. But at least it's all you. You don't have to blame somebody. You don't have to say, or like Newt Gingrich said when asked about his infidelities. Oh, well, you see, I believe in a forgiving God.
Yeah, that's a great way out of it, isn't it? I believe in a forgiving God. I believe in a God that lets you screw around on your wife.
That's what he's saying.
I believe in a God that lets me get blowjobs in the Oval Office. That's what Clinton would have said. Yeah. I believe in a God that lets me rob a bank. That's the God I believe in. Now you can't ridicule me now because I'm tying religion into it, and you can't ridicule anybody's religion unless you're us. So,
and since everybody believes in a different God, every person who believes in a God believes in a different God, because they're all subjective. Yeah. There's no framework. You know, they talk about God as an anchor. There's no anchor.
That's right.
It's all subjective.
They
this guy says this is, yeah, you know, atheism is an anchor. The anchor is reality, right? The anchor is the laws of nature as we are finding them out, as we are understanding them, and we are not afraid that if something is wrong, to review it.
Right.
And change your mind.
But until something changes our mind, something that goes, a theory that breaks the laws of nature as we know it, is considered a myth.
How did you get so many young people to come in? Because that had been...
How did it get so many young people to come in?
Yes, because that had been a problem with American atheists, was attracting young people.
Well, what I did was we lowered the cost for students to $20 a piece. So if you were an adult, you came and you paid the regular price. But what I realized several months ago was that just for the adults, we were going to be a profitable event. And the room had plenty of room to expand. And it wasn't going to cost us any more room to expand, at least not much. You know, the marginal cost per person on a convention is pretty little. You're talking about, you know, refreshments and food and stuff like that. But really, it wasn't going to cost much. So I took a cue from Skepticon, where they had 1,200 people come. It was all free, but they had 1,200 young people come.
Oh, okay.
So I said, okay, 1,200. Well, let's do $20 a piece. $20 got you free membership, and it got you admission. And I sent out the word to all of the students at the Secular Student Alliance. Got to give props out to the SSA, who really helped us spread the word. Also, Hector Avalos, one of our speakers, very prominent in the student movement. And they spread the word wide, and they came. And they came to hear P.Z. Myers, and they came to hear Greta Christina, and they came to hear, unfortunately, Christopher Hitchens couldn't make it, but they did come to hear a letter that was written by him that was read out aloud. And Paul Provenza was there, and Lawrence Krauss was there. It was really a fantastic event. It was started off by a first, as far as I was concerned, because the mayor of Des Moines came to welcome us.
Really?
He came into the convention, and he went up on stage, shout out to Amanda at the SCA for arranging it, and he said hello, and he welcomed us. And damn straight he should. You know,
now that's a wonderful thing, because what you're seeing there is an elected official, an elected public servant, treating all citizens equally.
Crazy, huh?
Which is what they should do.
Isn't that crazy? 800 people, and he was there. And you know, I really got to hand it to the city of Des Moines. They're very, very nice. They treated us extremely well. The bad thing about Des Moines is that it was really, really quiet, okay? And that was kind of good for us, because they were really happy to see us, okay? Probably one of my favorite, well, it's always been my favorite part of the convention has been the pub crawls at night. But this year we actually had an organized pub crawl, okay? I wouldn't find it in the book. But we actually had bars waiting for us, okay? We told the bars that we would be maybe 30, 35 people, and they solicited our business. We had 120 people, 120 atheists walking down the streets of Des Moines, the deserted, quiet streets of Des Moines, in a huge mass, picking out the bars, filling up one bar. Oh, that bar's too full. Let's go to the next one, fill up that one. Let's go to the next one, fill up that one. And we all had a great time all night long. We spent a lot of money. We learned about a new phrase at American Atheists, overflow hotel.
Really?
Yes, an overflow hotel. We had to go, we filled up the Embassy Suites. We had to go over to the Marriott. We had vans going back and forth, logistics going back and forth. It was energetic. It was thick with energy.
Well, you know, so many cities are really under economic strain right now.
Yeah.
And I think what the mayor of Des Moines and as you said, some of the proprietors of these establishments realize, hey, look, they're Americans, they're spending money.
That's right.
You know, if we God and God and Trust is on the money, we'll take that same money from atheists.
That's right.
You know, and so for them, sure.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, that was a boon for the city. You guys, the American Atheists, brought in economic, what's the term?
Money.
They brought money into the city.
We brought money into the city. We had enough, and the city of Des Moines, they really treated us well. The Visitors Bureau in Des Moines really treated us well. They did a lot of work for us for free because we were bringing in so much business.
Sure.
And Ed Buckner got up and introduced me. He read Christopher Hitchens' letter. The Christopher Hitchens letter, by the way, is online at atheists.org. You can read it. A very nice letter from Mr. Hitchens. Then I spoke. Good response. After me, it was Jamila Bay. No, wait, after me, gotta cheat. After me, who followed me? Oh, Jeff Charlotte followed me. Jeff Charlotte, who wasn't able to make it last year, he spoke about C Street and the religious rights influence in politics.
Oh yes, and just recently, for those who don't know, this past week, actually last week. Now this show is being taped in late May. John Ensign, one of the prominent members of C Street, the senator of Nevada, resigned his post.
Amazing.
And why? Well, he was stripping a staffer's wife, paying off the family.
Well, he believes in a God that allows you to strip your neighbor's wife.
Well, I think a few of them do, because I think Mark Sanford from South Carolina is also a member.
Yeah. His God allows you to do that too.
Well,
it's amazing.
His God allows you to go to Argentina and
that's right.
And then tell people lies. That's great.
It's amazing when you invent a God what He can allow you to do. It's great.
I like to believe in a forgiving God like that.
Yeah.
However, I only believe in myself, and I have a conscience.
Yeah, I have a conscience, and I want good things to happen. I want to be good, It's just because, and if I'm bad, you know what? It's me. It's not somebody else's fault. It's my responsibility.
That's right. Somebody said to me, well, nobody's going to know. I said, what do you mean nobody's going to know? I'm going to know.
That's right.
That's enough.
That's enough.
And what's really interesting is that most people who do believe in God, and they say He is all-knowing and He sees all, act as if no one's looking.
Right.
Yeah, those who believe in a God, of course, that sees all, behave, especially these politicians and these clergy people, behave as if no one's watching.
Right.
As atheists, we know someone's watching. Us.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the convention. Okay.
Yeah. Go back.
Because after Greta Christina came, and she gave this fantastic speech about why atheists are so angry. This is a speech that she gives regularly.
I love that.
But one of my favorite parts about the first day was the actual screening. We had a movie premiere, an actual movie premiere at the convention of The Ledge, which is Matthew Chapman's movie.
Okay.
Starring Liv Tyler. Was actually premiered at our convention in high def. And it was beautiful. It was a wonderful experience to actually show people this movie for the first time. And Matthew Chapman, who is the great-great-grandson of Charles Darwin, he produced the movie, and he he came and he talked about the movie, and then he also answered questions about it.
Is he shopping this around for distribution right now?
He is. Actually, they're doing it in a different way, and I'm going to put, and the clips are online. But what they're doing is they're trying to get people to see it online first. And if they can get as many people to see it online first, then they'll go to the movie theaters and try and get it released. So it's kind of backwards.
How about the people who attended the convention? Did you get a sense they were really enjoying it?
They loved it.
We
got the feedback forms were just almost unanimously positive. People were, like I said, the energy was palpable. So people were running around, people were laughing and giggling and meeting each other, and they were having a really fantastic time. The first night ended, of course, with our costume dinner. So we had a costume dinner. So we had people come in really elaborate costumes. Dave Kahn came as the Marquis de Sade. He had blood all over him. Of course, I had little devil horns. My wife Hildy came as a little fallen angel.
Oh, fallen angel.
Fallen angel. She was very, very dainty. But that was fun. There was a buffet, and people were there in costumes. Everybody was taking pictures. Everybody was socializing, and it was a really positive experience. People really loved it.
Well, a lot of atheists around the country. I mean, we're so saturated with religion that to have this one time for an outlet where you can just let your hair down and discuss any topic you want with intelligent, reasonable people just doesn't come along every day. It just does not come along every day.
That's right. So we're already out of time talking about this show. What we're going to do is we're going to show you a couple clips now from the convention for the next 10 minutes or so, just so that you can get a feel for it. I hope you all come to the next convention. The next convention is going to be in Washington, D.C. It's not going to be on Easter weekend. One of the things that we did do at this convention is we announced the Reason Rally. The Reason Rally is going to be the largest secular event in world history. It'll be next spring in Washington, D.C., and our convention will directly follow it. It's going to be a smaller convention for all the obvious reasons, but the Reason Rally is going to be a very big thing, so I hope you all check it out. It's not an American Atheist event. It's a movement-wide event. There are 14 equal organizations signed on, co-sponsoring this event, and we're very, very excited. I am chairing the event, and it's looking very, very well, awesome.
Well, now that we survived the end of the world, I'm sure to be there.
All right. Yeah. I hope you'll be there too. So stay tuned for a couple clips from the convention. We'll be doing this for the next couple shows because it was really kicking. In the meantime, we're out of here. I'm David Silverman.
Ron Barrier.
All right, thanks for joining us on Atheist Viewpoint, where reason reigns and reality rules. Enjoy the clips. It feels great to be here. At first, I was a little iffy on Des Moines. We tried to put up the billboards, those "You Know There's No God" billboards, and we were told no. We were told no because Des Moines is a Christian city. But now that we're here in record numbers, and now that we've been warmly welcomed by the mayor and by all the local businesses, including this wonderful hotel, it is obvious that Des Moines is not a Christian city. It is an American city full of American diversity, including lots and lots of American atheists. Today I'm going to give you some of my insights on this country, our adversary, and what we're going to do about it. I have been promoting and promising an announcement. And heads up, this is the speech where I'm going to make it. Yeah. But first, I'm going to make some introductions. Once again, I'm Dave. I'm an atheist extremist. Ooh. I am not a militant atheist. I absolutely hate being called a militant atheist. Militant Christians blow up abortion clinics. Militant Muslims blow up trade centers. Apparently, militant atheists put up billboards. Ladies and gentlemen, religion is weak. It cannot stand on its own. The invisible man in the sky is getting less and less believable, but let's face it, he was never all that believable to begin with. Since religion cannot hold on its own merit, it uses the state to prop itself up. Some say religion is only a problem when it meddles in the affairs of politics, but in fact, religion always meddles in the affairs of politics. It always has and it always will because, again, it cannot stand alone. It needs support from the state, and over time has established this kind of support that they solely enjoy, without debate, without consideration. So let's take a moment to consider it. I'd like you all to consider America where religion is actually not helped by government at all. Consider America where politicians don't preach and neither does the money. Consider an America where doctors and patients make medical decisions all by themselves. We just came close to shutting down the government over Planned Parenthood, but nobody even brought up taxing the church. So let's consider a larger refund and a smaller national debt because the church pays its fair share in taxes. Consider an America where real scientists practice real science without the regard of people who actively want the unknown to remain unknown. Consider school books clearer revisionist history, science books without warning stickers, and every student feeling like an equal, no matter what his or her religious views might be. Consider loving adults marrying and adopting kids without the hardship or hard time because of the gender of the people they love. Consider judges doing their job and protecting human rights without the threat of being voted out of office. Iowa. Consider atheists getting elected into office and theistic politicians courting our vote. Consider e pluribus unum, one nation indivisible, and Congress starting with the call to order, okay, let's get to work. That's what separation of church and state is all about, and that is our big picture goal. Now, most theists don't understand that the separation of church and state benefits them because it protects their rights to change their minds. Indeed, the only real beneficiaries to a merged church and state are the preachers and the politicians in their pockets. And if religion has its say, we never will have a true separation of church and state, because in that situation, religion would be relegated to being just a religion. They would gather and sing and pray and have all the rights they should have, but with no support of the state, without the tax breaks, without the legitimization from the government, religion would shrink dramatically because their message, again, is so weak. They know this. It's not news. And that is why religion will never leave society alone. It would be near suicide for religion to stay out of politics, and this is why we as a secular organization cannot only fight defensive battle after defensive battle. We must take on religion at the source. Yeah. Now, I'm talking about religion, not religious people. I'll make that clear. Our adversaries are not the believers. The believers are mostly very nice people who are just victims of the cold and calculated brainwashing they've received since birth. Our adversaries are the ones pulling the strings. Now, let me make this clear. There are good theists and there are bad theists. And there are good atheists and there are bad atheists. But the worst of both are running religion today. And we have to accept that. Now, whether they believe it or not, religious leaders tell lies for a living. And a damn good living it is. So why would they want their flock to support separation of church and state? And if you're brainwashed from birth or coerced by your family and friends to follow this preacher because he knows the Word of God somehow better than you do, well, it's very easy for good people to find themselves on the wrong side of the morality fence. But there are two different types of people in the pews: the believer and the atheist. I believe that a huge percentage of people who call themselves Christians, Muslims, and Jews are actually atheists who are unable or unwilling to say it, or uneducated enough to know how much it matters. In many cases, they haven't even admitted it to themselves, but deep down, they know there is no God. The bad news is they look and act quite deliberately, exactly like true believers, right down to the money, the politics, and the power. So our only course of action is to address the church pews directly and coax the atheists out of the pews. We are the ones to say what everyone else is thinking, but choose not to say. We fight the unpopular but necessary battles. We raise our voices and our picket signs and, yes, our billboards, all in the name of promoting the ideal of true equality for atheists in the hearts and minds of America's citizenry, beginning, of course, with awareness
about our movement. We are the warhead of the missile, the razor-sharp edge of the movement's sword. The emperor is not only naked, he's ugly, and he needs deodorant.